दिमाग में इतने सारे आइडियाज हैं, फिर एग्जीक्यूशन क्यों नहीं है?
We understand building something of your own can get a little intimidating.
बट वो कहते हैं ना, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That is why we took a shot today. We asked it all out to the person who dreamt it, built it, and made it.
Should you be working 70 hours a week or should you be working 40 hours a week? If you are starting up a company, there's nothing wrong in going to a competition and learning from them for 6 months. Why is it wrong? So to grow in India, you really need deep pockets.
Hello and welcome to the Y-Axis. Today we have with us Yash Shah, who is the founder of The Address. You interact with a lot of startups.
I do.
And while you do that, do you see some, these are few roadblocks for any entrepreneur who is going ahead? कि startup में ये mistakes तो करनी ही नहीं है.
So I think first of all, thank you for having me on your show. And to answer your question easily, I think essentially, startups are meant to solve a problem. A lot of startups I have seen usually fail because of their lack of understanding of that subject or understanding of the market as to how can they capture all of it. I mean, आप कोई भी startup खोलो, correct, and you try to understand as to what is the problem that you are solving और उसके around क्या क्या कर सकते हैं. उसकी basic understanding is the foremost thing which you need to have when you're starting any brand whatsoever. Now that you have to make sure that how are you different than anybody else who's doing this, correct? So I mean, a lot of people ask me as to you're running this business and you've been running this business for so long, and there are about more than 500 people who are in this industry. How are you separate from anybody else? And I think that's of course for me to answer, but a lot of startups really fail to answer that. Everybody compares themselves to somebody else. I'm not saying compare yourself to somebody else. Are you doing everything better than anybody else who's doing this, or do you have a first mover advantage towards it? And what is the size of the audience that you're targeting, locally, nationally, globally, whatever it is? That's I think significant. That's one of the bigger things. And the second thing is the research that really goes behind a startup.
Right.
Has to be very imminent. Please don't be very quick with starting a brand. It's easy to start it, but to sustain it for the longer term, please make sure that you are thoroughly researched about each and everything that goes behind making it successful. Because I mean, essentially there are more than 10,000 companies registered in India every single day.
Intimidating number. Ekdam.
And then how many really see the end of the light after almost, let's say, 3 years?
What do you think? Because you said somewhere कि 3 years का मैं plan करता हूँ, इससे ज़्यादा का is like a dream.
So with a startup, the vision is always flexible, and that's the beauty of it. So we should keep it that way. And hence I say, make a weekly goal, make a fortnight goal, make a monthly goal, make a quarterly goal, make an annual goal, and make a 3-year goal. But do not have a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal, because that essentially, with the changing environment, will be very difficult to keep up to. And I'm not saying a black swan event like a COVID will come into perspective. It may or it may not. But the pace at which the world is growing, you don't really know what lies. I mean, a lot of marketing companies just essentially shut down because AI came into perspective, right? And that just slashed the market by another 25%. And today, with the growth of AI or with the growth of the way people do so many things, it's imminent that they'll grow. And I mean, आपने सोचा होगा कि 5 साल बाद मैं यही करूंगा या यही करूंगी, and that may not just hold true for the longer run.
Indian startup scene, ऐसा मैंने पढ़ा है कि मतलब all the good ideas have already been like executed. So now it's a world of improvisation and just kind of bettering whatever is there.
Not really. I mean, again, I think how do we say that? While we may all be here and thinking, there may be just something else which comes out, pops out tomorrow, and we'll be like, wow, this is just something. I mean, when Facebook came, nobody would have thought that an Instagram is going to be this popular and they will have to buy it. When Vodafone started 50 rupees mein 500 messages, nobody knew WhatsApp is going to take over, correct? Nobody saw the fall of BBM because of WhatsApp. And I mean, there is always something which is going to revolutionize.
BBM used to be a rage.
A rage, correct, right? Everybody used to have two phones, essentially, one to just talk on BBM.
Yes.
And so, I mean, we never know what's going to be there tomorrow that really revolutionizes the way we think of the market. And I mean, honestly, the market is too big in India or globally to think about anything. I mean, we see that a Facebook was the pioneer, right? But a Instagram or any other platform still does so well. We think that WhatsApp is what we use in daily life, but there are people who use Telegram or Signal
Right.
to just communicate. And again, some may think of it as a privacy issue, or some of may think of it as a different thing. But that's I think what I mean. When we thought that Uber Eats was a thing, Zomato and Swiggy were right there. And I mean, while Zomato was there and Swiggy entered a year or two later, Swiggy has been able to capture good market. And I mean, sure, if you're going to be a third one, your fight is going to be intense. But I don't believe that the market does not belong to you or you cannot have that market.
So since we are talking about revolutionary ideas, one idea जो मेरे मतलब मैं सोचती हूँ when it comes forward is UPI transaction. मतलब it has literally changed the whole economy itself. So
Absolutely. And so, I mean, I think this was about a month and a half back when the German Prime Minister, or was it the Finance Minister who came to India, was in Delhi and said that
right.
people are using UPI to buy fruits, and that is next to impossible to happen in Germany for the next 5 years. I was in the US before a year and a half, or probably 2 years, and I believe that it's just crazy how backward they are compared to us. And I definitely believe that India is far ahead in a lot of things. As far as ease of even payments is concerned, UPI is one thing. But apart from that, also banking
The
system
banking
and
system.
everything is handled here is far more beautiful than a lot other countries. And I don't know if you know, but a lot of and this I'm talking about is 2017, 18 or 19. When I was in Bangalore, there is a mall which does not even accept cash. It only accepts cards or UPI payments. And I mean, we are moving to that. We are moving in that direction. But I also believe that there is a little negative structure behind this, is because the younger generation does not understand the value of money.
yes.
Go to Mintra or your Flipkart or your, I don't know, whatever Amazons, and just spend. So the concept of money has significantly gone down, and this is called the poker effect.
Yeah.
So when one of the major reasons why people don't play with money and play with chips is because if you play with cash, you are tending to not use it. But if you exactly. But if you play with chips, you don't realize how much you're spending. And that's the same case with UPI. So with UPI, you really need to be very careful as to how you're spending it, because you don't understand what was there and what has just gone by.
So do you invest in ideas or do you see a lot of other things also? मतलब एक percentage idea को देखता हूँ, percentage team को देखता हूँ.
As an investor and as an entrepreneur myself, I see that who is that founder or what kind of a team can really change or turn around any mistake or anything that they've done, which is not likely, very quickly. We all make mistakes. We would be lying if we say that we've not made mistakes in running a company or anything. But do we have the power to kind of turn them around, and how quickly do we turn around is what matters to me. But one part of my investment thesis recently, because there's so much money available in the market, has been that what's the exit strategy that that company brings in. See, you need to understand that when you're running a startup and when you're taking money from anybody's pocket, correct? That money does not belong to you. That money is still theirs, which they are investing in you to grow. And it's okay to kind of fail uh, till a certain amount, but then you can't consider that I can fail off of this money because it's not mine. So that's number one. And number two is the exit strategy. When I say exit strategy, what I mean is that you need to understand that an investor only makes money. Your company can go from a revenue of 1 crore to 100 crores. The investor that has put in, let's say, 10 lakh rupees only makes money when he exits. Correct? Achha. So what's your exit strategy as a company? Are you going to be paying him dividends? Are you going to raise a significant round and going to give him an exit? Are you going to IPO? What is the timeline of it?
मुझे ये नहीं पता था
मतलब मैं अगर let's assume I'm putting in money into a startup. How are you going to give me an exit?
हाँ.
How do I get money?
Because an investor is not going to stay forever.
Exactly. So what's the timeline for which you expect my money to be and when are you going to give me an exit? A partial exit, a full exit, whatever exit. So now people people want money. People think that, okay, a lot of pitches which I hear is that this company will go from 20 crore to 2000 crore and that's fabulous. But what about my 20 lakh that I put in on my 2 crore that I put in? When is that going to go from a point A to point Z or wherever you want me to and in what time is what my question is.
Is this a good idea that you see and observe, like even as a startup founder, you should always have your like nose to the ground and see what's happening across globe, ताकि आप वहाँ के ideas इंडिया में आके replicate कर सकते हो, because I think a lot of ideas that germinate here are basically adaptations of what's happening.
Of course, and I think a lot of what happens in India is also taken outside. What happens outside also is taken here, right? How you really amend or add that Indian twist or add a global twist to things is what matters. I mean, before I came here, there were not a lot of co-working place players or managed office space players. There were about 10 to 15 back in 2017-18, and today there may be more than 1,000 or more than 500. How are you, again, as I said, the first answer which I gave, how you're different than anybody else and what is the market that you're capturing is what matters. I mean, there is a 3-star, there is a 4-star, there is a 5-star. There is something which comes for, I mean, if you go and buy anything, there's a t-shirt which starts from 500 and can go up to 5 lakhs. Which market do you want to cater to? Do you know what exactly is your clientele and what do you want to cater to? Is all that you need to understand. So your research needs to be thorough. What market are you trying to capture to needs to be thorough. What is that target market size is what you need to be thorough about, and you will definitely be successful, and you just need to go and capture that market.
How did you Indianize this version, like
so I did not really Indianize it. I believe that what I did was that I tried to understand what was the pain point. Honestly speaking, before even Indianizing it, it was a lot about educating the people. So I mean, back in 2016-17, when people did not understand as to a co-working essentially meant that I'm sitting with another company or I'm sitting with another individual. How do you change that perception? Was the biggest challenge. So that took about 6 months, and then I think there was no looking forward, at least in Ahmedabad. Then we started another tier 2 city, Indore, and we went so on and so forth. So it was good, and people eventually understood. And now I think if you look at the numbers by 2025, about 35% of any building coming in a tier 1 or a tier 2 city will have a managed office player or a co-working player.
But what is the reason of choosing tier 2 cities? मतलब आप choose कैसे करते हो? Because when we were discussing, you just mentioned that, we were there in Indore when there was no one. So we invested at that time and now we are the biggest.
So I think us as a company, our goal is not to grow horizontally. मतलब मेरे को to my investor or to myself or to my teammates or to anybody, I am not trying to prove a point by saying that I'm existing in all cities of India. No, wherever I am, I want to make sure that I make the life of the people over there easier. So when I talk about an Ahmedabad, which is our headquarters and where we started from, we have about 8 centers in 8 different locations of Ahmedabad, 8 different areas of Ahmedabad. Same way in Indore, I have it in 4 different areas of Indore. So it also has to make sense to capture that entire market. Why did we start with tier 2? Is because we could grow and capture that entire market and make life easier. So tier 1 also, it's not that we're not in tier 1, we are in tier 1. But tier 1, essentially, no player, no matter how big or small, can capture an entire market.
Right.
Tier 2, you can. Correct. You can make it difficult for a tier 1 player to enter a tier 2 market, which we have done in Ahmedabad or in Indore. But in tier 1, I can grow parallelly with another player. Is why we did tier 2.
Mark Zuckerberg also said that solving problem for a niche audience is way better than just bringing a revolution to the entire.
I agree, and I think the way you solve the problem is everything.
Why not starting small is very important.
India has this weird obsession of going global या फिर एकदम pan India. So do you think startups that start with that intention कि मतलब हम यहाँ भी जाएंगे वहाँ भी जाएंगे, do they sort of miss the bus?
A lot of them. I think most of them. Probably because see, you need to understand, to go pan India, you really need deep pockets. When you talk about, let's talk about a couple of companies that are pan India, correct? Do you think essentially that they are product companies? Look at any company. You can name any company. Pick a company which is pan India. Tata is not a startup.
अच्छा startup wise देखें. Zomato मतलब fairly new है but.
No, Zomato also old, but okay, let's talk about the Zomato. Look at the amount Zomato has needed to capture all these markets. How much money has Zomato raised? Correct? Do you have, okay, so we're all fans of Zomato marketing.
Of course.
Correct? Good marketing. Positive. It can go haywire, of course, from time to time, because you're always criticized for the smallest of things. But if we are, then we need to understand. I also believe that Zomato is a 50% marketing company or a product company or a service company. The reason being that Zomato constantly has to keep on marketing itself across various platforms, good or bad. No advertising is bad advertising, correct? Across any platform, to make sure they're relevant, right? And I believe a lot of these companies, talk about a Zepto, talk about anybody's a marketing company today. Because what they're spending on is essentially marketing. Not on, 50% almost on marketing. Anything else is secondary. So to grow in India, you really need deep pockets.
There's this dichotomy in my head, which is that since your father was in real estate, so is mine.
Yeah.
So I want to know, are you born a marketer? Are you born a business person? Like some influences in the family, do they kind of give you that edge over other people? Or you just need to hire the right kind of people and you can go ahead with the company?
So I think I'm going to merge this question with a conversation that we were having before, as well as to the first question of how do startups or how do individuals running startups succeed, correct? Alongside my background with it, I believe that 10 से 7 टिकाओ. 10 से 7 अगर तुम टिका सकते हो ना, you will learn more in 1 year than any other book can teach you, is what I believe. Anything which is read is theory. When you sit from 10 to 7 and see it practically happen, you learn anything and everything that can be. And if you do that for 3 straight years, the room for your failure is negligible. And that's what I've done individually. I think that the right founder will always be the best salesperson ever. No matter if that person is a CTO, but he will definitely be the best salesperson you could have met, because he knows the ins and out of that organization and can sell you what and how he wants to sell it to you. Is definitely going to be there. And I think that's what's very important for anybody who's starting up as well, is that before you are starting up, give that 10 to 7 to your organization, even though you believe there's no more, even though you believe there's not a lot required. It is, trust me. Give 10 to 7 by learning through your peers, by learning through your professors, by learning through industry leaders, or by just learning through other organizations. If you are starting up a company, there's nothing wrong in going to a competition and learning from them for 6 months. Why is it wrong? Take an internship, take a full-time job, learn from them for 6 months. And you'll understand as to where you were right and where you were wrong. Because don't think of your competition as negative. They are in this field because they also have understood um, something about the market. Rather, take inspiration from them. I would say take inspiration from your competition and try to beat them.
Right.
One of our core policies over here at the address is that never think less of your competition. Correct? Absolutely understand them in and out and then try to beat them. That's it.
So you,
Is it a better practice than an MBA?
I am not an MBA, so I don't know.
No, but in general, like educating yourself in the classroom
Mm.
rather than.
It's a very debatable question. I would never know why do people do MBA. I believe MBA is very much required if you want to go out there and get the best possible job for yourself. But again, I would still tell you that even for anybody who wants to do an MBA, my suggestion is that at least get one bare minimum of 1 year full time experience into a good role in a good company. Possibly not a startup, but not a multinational, somewhere a mid level company that is doing well. Because that will teach you a lot before you start your MBA. Because why are you doing an MBA is a question you need to. If you're saying that you're doing an MBA to enhance your working skills or enhance your educational skills, I believe it's bullshit.
I believe working in a startup for initials is one of the best ways because you become a multitasker.
I
मतलब सब
agree.
कुछ आ जाता है.
Disagree because when you're working in a startup, are you learning and doing everything that you wanted to? Or I mean, are you learning what the startup is teaching you? Correct? Is something which is very important. Yes. If it's something which you would want to do, or it's something which is of interest to you and you're getting exactly that, do it. Correct? If you want to analyze data, or if you want to, I mean, run a D2C company someday, or if you want to run anything, and if you're getting that exact role and you're getting to know the ins and outs of it, do it. But if not, then don't be in a startup just because it teaches you everything. Because sometimes you probably don't need to learn everything.
Right.
That's it.
Because since we were talking about a lot about observing things and because learning and everything, taking it a scale up, the global brands also glocalize themselves in India when they come over here. Let's say MACD हो गया,
Sure.
उसने आलू टिक्की लेके आया, which is not prevalent across the globe ऐसे, पर इंडिया में glocalize किया उस चीज
You
को.
see, that's why they've been successful.
हाँ.
So let's talk about how many failed and how many. Okay.
हाँ.
So which is the Parle goalie, which is doing
Yeah, the pulse.
Pulse.
हाँ, Pulse.
An unreal story, right?
हाँ.
I mean, how do you sell a candy with 50 paisa, 1 rupee, and 2,000 crore in revenue? Pulse does 1,000 crore in revenue.
Wow.
That's
Oh my God.
selling almost what? 1,000 crore in revenue is almost about 3 crores every day. 3 crore every day is selling 3 crore pulses every day.
Oh my God.
1 rupee is what it costs.
हाँ.
There you go.
Just
Why? Because you will never go wrong with what was back then a mango bite. What is it? Kachi curry with an Indian twist. Let's talk about the renaissance of McDonald's in India. McDonald's understood that India is not just. So McDonald's essentially broke its own ethos when it entered India. McDonald's is a quick service restaurant, QSR. Correct? McDonald's across India, just look at the kind of size of restaurants they have.
Yeah.
People go out in India for a meal and
Sit
enjoy
over
it,
there.
savor it with their family, with their girlfriends, with their whatever, right? And McDonald's understood that pulse. That's why they created spaces which were so huge.
Yeah.
Of course, they Indianized it. Domino's in Gujarat before, I think, now 10 years. I don't know if you guys know, Domino's does not serve non-veg pizzas in
Yeah,
Gujarat.
yeah, I've heard that before.
Oh.
Because Gujarat, as a market, which back in the day was about 80% vegetarian only market, had a very big problem because people would not order from Domino's as they thought that it was the same kitchen. And if you go back and see that McDonald's also did a marketing campaign saying that veg and non-veg in Gujarat have separate kitchens.
मुझे लगा ये सिर्फ नवरात्रि के लिए होता
जी
था
नहीं,
कि
this is
उस
a
पीरियड के
McDonald's did this campaign. McDonald's did the dosa burger in
हाँ
Chennai or south
हाँ
of India, and Domino's does not still serve non-vegetarian pizzas in Gujarat.
हम्म
And look at the kind of market they've been able to capture versus a Little Caesars pizza. I don't even know if you've heard of that chain. It's one of the biggest chains alongside Domino's and Pizza Hut in the US and
Right.
Canada, South of America, North of America. It started here, it shut down as quickly.
But not able to adapt.
Not able to adapt because they did not give anything which was Indian.
Hmm.
Correct? They so I know one of the major reasons why, because you had to fly down everything. Look at Subway.
हाँ
You want to have paneer, you want to have soya, what do you want? You want to have aloo tikki,
Hmm.
Subway will give it to you. One of the major reasons why Subway is prevalent.
Hmm.
And I don't believe that because they're big companies, they're existing in India. No. I think they're existing in India because they understood the pulse of India. Right? And I think that's what's needed.
Right.
Whereas now, what Indian companies are doing is that they're trying to get Neapolitan pizzas and serve them, whereas just give Indians what they want. Because
Right.
probably Indians do not want a Neapolitan pizzas. But that, and I think Taco Bell is a brilliant example because Taco Bell shut down in India. They shut down their operations in India because they were giving everything which people did not want. And then they came back after I think 2 to 3 years, and they came up with a brilliant new menu which was serving the Indian taste buds, and they are successful today.
Amazing.
In fact, I was listening to this one interview जहाँ पे Domino's के head manager, the head manager, he said that हमें आके कहते थे कि burger खिलाओ. So they introduced a burger pizza as well.
Absolutely.
You cannot be like have your egos very fragile and
Absolutely.
be very
Correct.
particular about your competition.
So we have Domino's as a client, so we don't.
Say anything about that? Okay.
No, I mean, we're very happy. Jubilant Food Works, very good client to have. And no, but I think yes, exactly adaptation, right? You want paneer on a garlic bread, India will give it to you. Exactly.
तो स्टार्टअप्स में ना एक तो इंडिया का जुगाड़ और पेनी पिंचिंग, ये दो एटीट्यूड से मेरे को टैप इन करना है कि चलो जुगाड़ तो बहुत काम आता है,
ठीक
बट
है।
यूजुअली क्या होता है, हम 3-4 हज़ार रुपए या चलो अगर स्टार्टअप के ले रहे हैं तो मे बी अ लिटिल बिगर अमाउंट वो बचाने के लिए क्वालिटी में कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर देते हैं. उसकी लॉन्ग टर्म रेपरकशंस क्या होते हैं और कितनी चीजें यहाँ पे जुगाड़ से चल रही हैं? So these are like two-fold questions.
Okay, so coming to जुगाड़, आप जुगाड़ उन चीजों का कीजिए जो दिमाग से हो सकती है. क्वालिटी में कभी जुगाड़ मत करना. The reason being that let's assume that you buy जुगाड़ करके आपने एक सस्ता टी शर्ट ले लिया, 3 बार चला वो, ठीक है. You essentially after 6 months have to buy another t-shirt. Rather buy a quality t-shirt. What you doing by doing a jugaad with the quality is that you are delaying the obvious.
Yeah.
If you are doing a jugaad with quality, that thing is going to break down. How quickly or how later is the only question you're bringing into perspective.
Right.
Correct. And when you do a jugaad and when there's a quality jugaad which happens, you essentially end up losing credibility after some point of time. Because people will never forget that this was done out of jugaad, and this will bring your name down at a point of time. Correct? But street smartness wala jugaad is something which India thrives on. And I think that that I think is India's USP. But that is something which is really needed at any point of time, I believe. But not in terms of quality. But yeah, I mean, जुगाड़ बुरी चीज भी नहीं है if you know how you're using it to your benefit.
You talked about USP कि USP होना बहुत important होता है. हम gaps के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, market gaps के बारे में. And now building your own USP, like we are tapping into a talk show
Sure.
or something like that. And the market is very saturated. और वो हर चीज़ के लिए ही होता है, किसी न किसी चीज़ में saturation बहुत ज़्यादा मिलेगा आपको. तो ऐसे में how to build your USP and to stick by it, क्योंकि बहुत distractions आएंगे वे में जाते जाते.
So I think USP is the reason you start. Correct? So you started your show. you started this show because not just because you were, I believe, from journalism background, because you believed that asking the right kind of questions is something that a lot of people don't do. But essentially, because you thought that the right kind of people are not tapped into, or whatever it is, right? So your USP essentially started your company.
Yeah. Not
So-
the other way around.
Exactly,
Yeah,
correct?
right.
You can't build a company and then say this is my USP or try to find a USP.
Hmm.
USP is the reason why you do anything, correct? Or whatever problem you're trying to solve, and आप एक company उसी के लिए चालू करते हो because you're doing something. Now, what is it that you're doing differently is why you start that company. So when I would say that Epigamia started, it would say that we started because we're healthy and we come with a lesser shelf life so that it's fresh. When you talk about a raw, we do fresh juices, and we have fresh juices which can actually stay for a longer amount of time. So the USP was that we provide fresh food or fresh juice, and the USP wasn't that we make juices and then we make it fresh. So USP is essentially what drives you to do anything in the first place, and that I think is again one of the most important things to build on, because as I said, with a startup, the vision is very flexible. So your USPs will grow. Your USPs will not change. Correct? When you think that I have captured a bigger market and now I can launch something or I can bring something in, your USP will vary. But your primary goal will stick by. Okay.
Passion ko leke there is this tussle always. Zomato started as just like a menu service. Amazon started as a bookstore. So you leaving completely behind what you thought and then adapting. I think that must take a toll on why you started, and it might raise a lot of moral questions also.
Why?
I mean, adaptability is good, but the companies that are thriving on passion, like just because we are working on that toll, it is primarily having conversations. Now, some random person if comes up and says that this is not working, I don't think so. We are in a position that we leave it because the market is not allowing us to stay.
Okay, so let's answer it in the same question style you asked me. Does Zomato also show menu cards today?
It does.
It does.
Does Amazon also sell books today?
No, but it's not known for it. Like,
Exactly, but
Huh.
they leave what they started off for.
No.
Correct? They did not still let go of what they built on.
right.
Correct? You cannot let go of what you built on. It's okay to change your revenue streams, because essentially when the company becomes bigger and the vision becomes bigger, if Amazon only sold books, they wouldn't have been what
What they are today.
And if Zomato only showed menu cards, it would not have been what it is today. Correct? So it's okay. So the reason Zomato is known to you and is known to me is because it delivers you and I food, not because it shows you and I menu cards.
Right.
Correct. When was the last time you checked the menu card on Zomato?
It's a bit.
And when was the last time you only opened Amazon to buy a book?
No.
Exactly. So it's necessary to adapt and to flexibly grow your vision to reach wherever you want.
Evolution is necessary.
Exactly. I mean, if at all you're here, right here, and somebody comes and tells you that your 1 hour talk shows may not be working, but if you do a TikTok and a 5 minute or a 3 minute or a 1 minute reels, which can capture a lot of attention, you might as well do it. Or you may do this and that, both.
Building on the idea.
Exactly. Build on the idea, build on what is working, build on what people want to hear. Because
But don't leave what you started from, Vaina.
Why are we running away? Like Gen Zs are running away from startups. Like, not to start one. You can work in one. But building a startup gets a little intimidating for them.
I do even feel they get influenced very easily. कि मतलब यहाँ वहाँ.
Absolutely. I believe so. First of all, I think it is extremely easy to influence a Gen Z because they really have absolutely no understanding of their own, because they've not seen the world that way. And I think why is because they don't want to. So one of the major reasons why they don't want to live that startup life or they don't want to hustle is a constant debate that we see on on LinkedIn nowadays is, should you be working 70 hours a week or should you be working 40 hours a week? Correct? I don't want to say what is right and I don't want to say what is wrong. But I don't believe that majority of the Gen Z wants to put in that effort, which is why they don't want to start anything. Not because they think that there is no room, not because they're scared of failure. No, I think they can probably take it better than anything else. But I think that they do not. They're rather lethargic. They don't want to put in that effort to go from a place A to place B. They want to stick to that 9 to 5 life. They like to live where they have money in the bank on the first and they know how they want to systematically live, because now with so many companies coming in India, the value of money has grown. So I mean, it's easier to get. I mean, go back to our dad's times when getting a 50,000 job was
Applauded.
applauded. And today getting 18 lakh per annum is a joke.
Yeah.
So of course there's inflation, but more than that, the value of 18 lakh is negligible because talent की कोई कदर ही नहीं है. Correct? And again, I think that India maybe in the next 10 to 15 years will not have a middle class. Either you are being employed or either you're employed. There's not going to be an in between.
Yeah, because hustle culture and everything is on, और साथ में mental health भी आ जाता है, तो people say कि तुम hustle culture को तो romanticize करते हो. Many people say this.
Hustle for Gen Z is what they do from 9 to 5. If they made a presentation, that's hustling for them.
अच्छा.
Hustle definition.
Okay.
I may get a lot of flake for this, but it's the truth. And I mean, I'm not generalizing it, of course, but I speak for the majority. So it is what it is.
Just to play devil's advocate here, do you also think that it's the ease? Matlab, India is not very easy when it comes to doing business. We don't rank very high there. I don't know.
If you do business in India, you probably understand that India is very easy to do business.
But the legalities of it, the formalities of it, do you think that
India is very easy to do business.
Entry barrier वगैरह.
Zero.
Nothing.
You want to open an app. You have the money. Will you be able to?
Yeah.
You can register a company. You can get drivers. You can partner up with any food company, any brand you want, and you can run a business. So how is India difficult to start any business?
Defend नहीं कर पाए.
Because I run a business. I run not one business. I run 5 businesses. I have 5 different companies in 5 different fields, and I never thought that it is difficult to do business in India. I think the other way around. Yeah.
And
Now,
how?
if a UK or a US or a German or a French company wants to come to India and do business as per UK, then it is their fault. If you're in India, do business as per India. Don't do business as per UK. Yes, I would believe that there are some parts of India where it is difficult to do business because of a lot of factors. Sorry? I don't think South. But you see the CEO of a company thrashing, saying that Bihar is one of the biggest mistakes I made when I started a company over there. Or you go to Bengal, where people essentially, it's so communist. It's very difficult to start a company there, correct? And that's why you see that you don't get founders out of these cities. I mean, even if you do, they would have probably moved, correct? And so again, I think there's no problem with doing business in India. It's rather very easy if you are in the right places of India. You have so much. You go to Bombay, you go to Delhi, you go to Bangalore, you go to an Ahmedabad, you go to a Pune, you go anywhere. It's flourishing, and the reason why it's flourishing is because it's easier to do business. You talk about a Hyderabad, you talk about a Indore, you talk about a Jaipur. Just look at if you look at the numbers, look at the migration which has happened in these cities or states in the last 5 years, and you will be clearly able to distinguish how easy it is for people to move there, start a company, stay there, and make it their home. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Yash.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you about startups and more so things.
देखिए इस वीडियो में अगर एक भी इंसान ऐसा देख रहा है ना 21 ईयर ओल्ड 20 ईयर ओल्ड उसके लिए एक बहुत ही अच्छा चार्ट लेआउट
Like road map actually.
If at all I could, give a sense of judgment or belonging to anybody about their own self, then I think I have done something in my life, and that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.